Mr. Mayberry, you may proceed with your opening statement if you wish.
I would like to thank Chairman Waxman and Chairman Cherney and other members of the full committee for allowing me to come testify today. I believe I am one of only a few Americans that have recently worked on the site of the new embassy in Baghdad. My impressions about how the construction was being managed left me incredibly disturbed. My name is Rory Mayberry. I'm an emergency medical technician. Based on my professional experience and the fact that I have spent 4 years as a medical technician in Iraq, I was contacted by MSDS Consulting, LLC, March 2006. MSDS had seen my resume and wanted to contact me and contract me out to First Kuwaiti, the company that was constructing the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Under the contract, I was to provide emergency medical services on the site of the embassy. I went into this contract with the same good faith as I do with all my other contracts. I wanted to use my medical skills to stop people from dying in a dangerous place. According to my contract, I reported to First Kuwaiti managers in Kuwait City, where I signed my paperwork and received photo identification. Nothing led me to be concerned at this point. A few days later, I was given my flight information to Baghdad. At this point, First Kuwaiti managers asked me to escort 51 Filipino nationals and to make sure that they got on the same flight as I was headed to Baghdad. Many of these Filipinos did not speak any English. I wanted to help them to make sure that they got on their flight okay, just as my managers had asked me. We're all employees of the same company, was my feeling. But when we got to the Kuwait airport, I noticed that all their tickets said that we were going to Dubai. I asked why. A First Kuwaiti manager told me that the Filipino passports do not allow Filipinos to fly to Iraq. They must be marked going to Dubai. The First Kuwaiti manager added that I should not tell any of the Filipinos that they were being taken to Baghdad. As I found out later, these men thought that they had signed up for jobs to work in Dubai hotels. One fellow I met told me in broken English that he was excited to start a new job as a telephone repairman. They had no idea that they were being sent to do construction work at the embassy. Well, Mr. Chairman, when the airplane took off and the captain announced that we were headed to Baghdad, all you-know-what broke out on the airplane. The men started shouting. It wasn't until the security guy working for First Kuwaiti waved an MP5 in the air that the men settled down. They realized that they had no other choice but to go to Baghdad. Let me spell it out clearly. I believe these men were kidnapped by First Kuwaiti to work on the U.S. Embassy. They had no passports because they were confiscated at the Kuwait airport. When the airplane touched down in Baghdad, they were loaded onto buses and taken away. Later, I found out that they were smuggled into the green zone. They had no ID, no passports, and were being smuggled past U.S. security forces. I had a trailer all to myself on the green zone, but they were packed 25 to 30 a trailer, and every day they went out to work on the construction of the embassy without proper safety equipment. I went out on the construction site to watch. There were a lot of injuries out there because of the conditions these men were forced to work in. It was absurd. I had been hired based on my experience with OSHA guidelines and compliance, and saw guys without shoes, without gloves, no safety harnesses, and on scaffolding 30 feet off of the ground. Their toes were wrapped around the rebar like a bunch of birds. One guy was up there intoxicated on painkillers, and I had to yell and scream for 10 minutes until they got him down. I was afraid of blowing the whistle on this because I didn't want to end up outside the walls of the green zone and left to fend for myself. I stayed in Baghdad at this site, the U.S. Embassy, a total of 5 days before I was sent home. Once I got home, I contacted the military about what I had witnessed. After much delay and email traffic, the military told me, in fact, the State Department is in charge of the embassy construction. I've read the State Department Inspector General's report on the construction of the embassy. Mr. Chairman, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. This is a cover-up, and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to set the record straight. I look forward to questions.
I want to thank you both for your testimony.